So you're managing some of these guys, these MMA guys. Do you feel MMA's popularity rising, or do you see this like white space where you're like, okay, I can turn this into something?
Yeah, I don't think that we saw the popularity rising. What we saw was, first of all, we started taking jiu-jitsu, me and the Fertitta brothers. We took jiu-jitsu, we fucking fell in love with
Whose
jiu-jitsu.
idea?
Frank, actually, the oldest brother. We were out one night at the Hard Rock and we saw John Lewis, who was the only guy in Vegas at the time that had a jiu-jitsu studio. And Frank's like, that's that Ultimate Fighter guy. I said, I know him. And he's like, I've always wanted to learn ground fighting. I said, let's go talk to him. We talked to him. We set up a meeting session on Monday. And me, Frank, and Lorenzo all went and became addicted. We started training 4 or 5 days a week, trying to rip each other's fucking heads off and arms off. And
sorry, did you just know him because the fight world is that small?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I knew him just from being in the fight world in Vegas. And through John Lewis, he started bringing in BJ Penn, fucking Chuck. We started to meet all these guys. And we started training with them. And we became obsessed. And then we went to a UFC event. And me and Lorenzo were literally sitting in the crowd going, imagine if they fucking did this, and imagine if they did that. This thing could be big. I mean, they didn't sell merchandise. They didn't have programs. They didn't fucking do anything. They didn't really care about the live event. They just focused on the pay-per-view, the television side. And we just saw a lot of opportunities. The other thing that we saw was the boxing guys all had the same story. We came from the mean streets of such and such, and if it wasn't for boxing, we'd be dead or in jail. That was like every guy's story.
It really was.
You meet these guys. I mean, if you...
I'm a science teacher from Nebraska. All these,
well, they all were from different places that all had different stories, right? And the thing that I loved is if you were involved in martial arts growing up, you came for money.
That's true.
Because it was expensive to put your kids in martial arts. Or you graduated college because you wrestled. So we had, you know, if you look at Chuck Liddell at the time, right? If you thought about what the stereotypical Ultimate Fighter looked like, it was Chuck Liddell.
Yeah.
The mohawk, the Chinese writing on the head, the goatee. He looked like a fucking axe murderer, right? The guy graduated with honors from Cal Poly with an accounting degree.
Wow.
Right? I mean, you didn't have any of those stories in boxing. So one of the things that we really loved were the stories, that there were different storylines for these guys that would appeal to different groups of people. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you guys make the offer. What's the offer? And how do you even approach them?
Yeah.
So here's what happened. So I was representing Tito Ortiz at the time, right? And Tito...
Your boy.
Yeah, my boy. Tito had got fucked over by them because he showed up to a fight and he was supposed to be paid a certain amount of money. Well, the fight didn't do well. So right before the fight goes off, they went back and told him, yeah, we're not paying you what we told you we were going to pay you. We're going to pay you this instead. And he's like, well, then I won't fucking fight. And they said, then don't fight. Doesn't matter. We don't care. We're not going to make any money on this event anyway.
So they're hemorrhaging money.
So Tito had to fight. So he fought. So I'm going in negotiating his new contract, and I'm trying to get them to pay him the money that they fucked him on that fight, right? So finally, the owner blows up on me and says, you know what? There is no more fucking money. I don't even know if I can put on the next event. I literally hung up the phone, picked it back up, called the Fertitta brothers and said, I think the fucking UFC's in trouble. I think they're going to go under. And I think we could buy the company, and I think we should. So Lorenzo fucking reached out to Bob Meyerowitz, and, you know, a month and a half later, we own the UFC for $2 million.
Now, I don't want to count.
Hold on. Okay, so you buy it for $2 million. It's worth what now?
Now?
12,
13 billion.
Okay. That's a good return. Okay.
It sounds great now, but we went through a lot of shit to get here.
That's what I want to hear.
How long was the UFC around before that day? Like before you bought it?
Well, now, we bought it back in 2001, so we've owned it for 23, 25 years, whatever the fuck it is. It's been around for 30 years. So
started in 94, I think. Now, question, I don't want to count your pockets, but $2 million back then seems like a lot of money. You guys own some gyms, whatever. How do you get that money together? What's that process like? You taking out loans?
Well, now, he just said, what a great return on your money.
Absolutely.
At the time when we bought it for $2 million, we were literally the fucking redheaded stepchild of the Fertitta portfolio. Like every, smart fucking, numbers fucking geek that worked for the Fertittas, hated this investment, thought it was ridiculous, and that the Fertittas were going to lose all their money. Every fucking one of them. There's a lot of people that run around now claiming, oh, the UFC, I believe. Yeah.
No.
Nobody fucking. There were 3 guys that believed in it. Me, Frank, and Lorenzo. That was fucking it.
Yeah, okay.
And basically what we had to do was start to think about this too. When we bought it, none of us had ever fucking done production.
Yeah.
We'd never put on a fucking show in our lives. You
Okay,
know.
so are you outsourcing? Are you reaching out to boxing guys?
Well,
like
no, here's what we knew.
Okay.
We were huge fans.
Right.
We were fight nerds. We knew what we wanted, you know? Now it was just a matter of building it. And the problem is, number one, when you want to do what we did, and number two, when you want to do what we did and you don't know what the fuck you're doing, it's expensive, right? So every time you put on a show, it's a couple $1,000,000. So
are you losing immediately?
A few years in, you know, you're upside down $40 million fucking dollars.
This is what I'm
Wow.
talking about. Because I think the perception of the UFC is immediate success.
Yeah.
You guys buy it, Chuck Liddell, Tito, they start banging away. Then this Conor McGregor guy comes around and everybody's a billionaire, so it's done. I want to know the most you're down 40 million at one point.
So we're probably, by 2004, we're upside down $40 million.
Now-
and we were only doing 5 events a year.
And explain to me what that means. That's like you're losing money on the shows you're putting on. You're losing money on what? The deals you're doing?
So we're losing money on the shows. We're losing money on overhead, you know, the expenses for the office and employees and every way that you could possibly lose money in a business, we're fucking losing
What
money.
keeps you going at this point mentally? Because 40 million is, I know you got a lot of willpower. But 40 million is 40 million.
Understand this too. Think about this. So when we bought the UFC, right? We basically bought those 3 letters and an old wooden octagon, and we had like 13, 14 fucking contracts.
Yeah.
That's it, right? The old owner had sold away the home video rights, the video game rights, and all that shit. Lionsgate Entertainment owned all that shit. Probably one of the fucking craziest stories that's never been told is, you want to talk about people not believing in the fucking UFC and thinking that this thing was not going to work? We went to Lionsgate, right? To negotiate, to buy the rights back to all of our fucking intellectual property. The fucking everything from t-shirts to video games to action figures, everything that you can throw a fucking UFC logo on. Now, if you're Lionsgate, why the fuck would you sell that?
Yeah.
Right?
The bigger you make the business, the more money they make.
100%, right? That's how much people didn't fucking believe. We went in and negotiated the rights. And when we walked out of that fucking office, they were probably like, these poor
idiots.
fucking jerk-offs are going to pay us, you know, $3 million over the next fucking 4 years for these rights back. And, you know, you got some, again, a numbers guy who doesn't fucking believe in anything, you know, not just that, but he's like, if you look at our books over the next 3 years, we're going to add these numbers. Imagine if Lionsgate wouldn't sell us those rights back. How much fucking money they'd be making right now off, you know what I mean? It's incredible.
So you're down 40. Tell me the moment.
Oh, and by the way, when we bought these rights back, that's when the DVD business went like this. So we're putting out these fucking DVDs.
That's what I remember people watching it originally. It wasn't pay-per-view.
The first fucking checks we started to get were from DVDs.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, when the DVD business took off, you know, we were getting $2 million fucking checks off of DVD.
Is that helping float you? Like, I'm still curious.
No, it didn't help float. It you know, it was the only revenue coming in at the time.
Because you put on, just so I can understand, and the people at home can understand, you put on an event, you would create a DVD of the event, and then you would sell these DVDs to the people that couldn't watch it on pay-per-view or whatever.
100%.
Got it.
And then we started doing compilation shows, best knockouts, best submissions, you know, all that kind of stuff. And that shit sold
crazy.
really well.
Yeah. Okay.
No, what I'm still trying, because as a comic, there's a period where you don't think you're going to make it. I'm broke. I'm not 40 million in debt. What is your mentality as you are upside down 40 million? What are you thinking? What's your emotional state? I think you're with your wife at the time. What's that?
Yeah, I was always just on the fucking grind. I go into work every day and I keep my head down.
You don't even
keep
think
fucking
about
going for it. I mean, if you look at what we've done, I get to work at 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning every day, and I leave the office at 8 o'clock, 8:30 every fucking night. So that's always been my drive, my focus, my mentality, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I got the phone call one day from Lorenzo.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know if we can keep doing this, man. This is fucking, you know.
When is this?
Get out there in
What year is this?
Yeah.
What year is this?
2004.
So 2003 you buy.
One.
So 1 you buy. 2004 you get the phone call. Okay, how does the phone call go?
2004. And
You need to leave Vegas.
get out there.
There's less debt over there. You know what I mean? It's $2,000.
Whitey, I need to come back.
Yeah, right? That's nothing.
Now I see how Whitey billable. So, yeah, get out there and see what you could sell this thing for. So I start making calls,
Oh fuck.
and I call him back at the end of the day, and I'm like, 6 or 7 million. And he's like, okay.
Did you lie? Did you get like a $70 million offer? And be
6,
like,
7 is what I felt we could sell it for. And he says, all right, I'll talk to you tomorrow. So he hangs up the phone, and I'm like, this is a fucking wrap. This is fucking, it's over. The next morning, I'm driving to work, and he calls me and says, fuck it. Let's keep going.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So we start working really hard on trying to figure out how to get on fucking television, because we think that that's the key to success. We believe that if we get on free television, more people will see this, love it like we do, and it'll work.
And is that Spike?
So, well, then Spike TV.
Don't let me jump ahead. If there was another moment that
No,
changed
this
things.
is, you're dead on. So what happens is, I want to say it was the Nashville network or whatever it was before it was Spike. They switch it to the men's network, Spike TV.
Yeah.
And we're like, if
That's
this
it.
isn't a fucking
Line it
perfect
up.
slam dunk for us, right? What's more of a men's show than fucking UFC? So we go and pitch the guys on it. Spike hates it. They don't like it. And we remember that day. We talk about it all the time. These guys it was in LA, and they were going to the fucking Dodgers game that day. And they could not get out of this fucking meeting fast enough to go see the Dodgers play. And we called them back a few days later and said, because it was going to cost $10 million to produce the show, The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
Because reality shows were hot at the time.
course.
So we came up with this concept for the reality show, and that's what we pitched them on. So we called them back 3 days later and said, well, what if we put up the $10 million ourselves? Wow. They like that idea better. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you what else is incredible. So because, again, nobody believed in this
You
thing,
retain
right?
everything from
So we put up the money. We retain 100% of all the rights.
Oh, shit.
So we own everything, lock, stock, and fucking barrel.
Do you remember what their reservations were at the time?
Great question.
It's just nobody fucking believed in this thing, and nobody thought it was going to be fucking big. And you know, it's sort of become my thing. It's what I fucking love to do. It's the same thing with Power Slap. This thing got shit on. This thing's been around for 15 months. It's a $750 million business.